We belong to Kirati religion and we worship nature as our god. But actually I'm kind of atheist, you know. I don't really believe in God. I would ask him to make all of the people happy. I would want him to, take out that every evil thought from the, people.
Right.
I have no evil thoughts. What about the good things I've done? Why wouldn't he say, let there be no evil thing, let there be no any evil thoughts, let there be no war, let there be no deaths, let there be happiness only? And why won't he say that?
Hey there, just a couple of words about this conversation that I had with this young man, young student from Nepal. Really great to have spoken to him. He seems like he's been doing a lot of thinking about, even though he doesn't seem like on the surface initially interested in religion. He had a number of things, number of good sort of questions that he's raised, and a good conversation that we had about why God doesn't just fix us. It's a good question to ask. It starts with an assumption something is wrong with the world. That's correct. Something does not seem right in the world, and hopefully he's got to see that that's not just a problem that's out there somewhere else, but also within our hearts. And it's a good question to ask why God doesn't just all fix it, but yet he has, right? He has done the work of the fixing in his son, Jesus Christ. And I commend it to him to research into these things, to look what does it mean to him personally, that this fixing, that this solution is called the good news. It's the gospel that's available to him and to the world. That is the work that God has done to fix us all from our evil, from our situation that we're finding ourselves in, to give us the hope, a changed heart, a changed mind, new thoughts, new creation. That's what we are in Christ. So I hope that came clear to this young man. I commended to him to start reading the Bible. I hope to come across him maybe again one time, or if he wants to leave me a message in the channel, love to have another conversation with him. If he's got any questions, love to discuss it over with him. But thank him again for the conversation, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. God bless.
Do you have any faith, any belief, any philosophy by which you live your life?
About gods?
Yeah, about God, right? Like, exactly. Like, do you have a religious affiliation or religion? Do you belong to a religion?
Yeah, I do belong to religion, but you must not have heard about it, because I'm from Nepal, and we have a community over there.
Yeah.
It's called Limbu community.
Okay.
And we belong to Kirati religion.
Kirati. Okay.
Yeah, and we worship nature as our god.
Nature as
Yeah,
your God.
yeah.
Okay.
And
is that like your family and your communities? Yeah, all of it is like that.
The whole of the community, they worship nature. We don't have God. It's to speak about.
Interesting, right? Tell me a little bit more about, like, when you say you worship nature, like, how does that? Are there things in nature that you get benefit from? How does that work?
Actually, we worship 2 times in a year.
Yeah.
One is called Udoli, and next it's called Uvoli. And Udoli, at Udoli we worship nature.
Yeah.
Before planting the rice,
Okay.
rice paddy.
Yes.
Before planting the
for
paddy,
good harvest. For good harvest.
Yeah, for good harvest. And at the harvest season, we again worship nature before harvesting.
I see.
Yeah, that's Uvoli and Udoli and Uvoli.
Right.
That's all. And about God, I don't know if he exists or not.
So you said, before we started, you said you never really thought about that too much. Is that true? Like, because you've been, obviously now you're here in the UK, you had some exposure to other cultures, other beliefs. Like UK used to be kind of a Christian country. Like, how much do you know about other religions?
About other religion, I have. I'm not good. I'm not good with other religions. I just respect them. I just respect their idea about gods, and I don't think I can oppose them or something. But actually, I'm kind of atheist, you know. I don't really believe in God,
Right.
to be honest.
And why is that?
I don't know, because I find it unfair now, because in the world right now, most of the people are dying out there, and most of the people are just living luxurious lives, and just because of that, I don't think God is unfair. God is fair, so I don't believe in God.
I see. Like if you wanted God to do something, one
Yeah.
thing, what would you ask him to do?
I would ask him to make all of the people happy, you know, and I don't want him to suffer anyone,
Okay.
make people suffer.
Would you be willing to give up your freedom for happiness?
Freedom, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah?
Yeah,
Because the reason we are
Yeah.
where we are, right, in the world is
Yeah.
ultimately because people have freedom, right?
Yeah,
People
yeah.
have freedom to act. They want to act, right? And that
Yeah.
sometimes that means to hurt one another, right? To benefit themselves,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
to
so conflict doesn't happen, war doesn't happen by itself. It's
Yeah.
because like, one group of people
Yeah.
want to do something for themselves at the expense of another group of people, right?
yeah,
And we as individuals do the same thing. We sometimes make decisions,
yeah,
say things, do things
yeah,
for our benefit
yeah,
that hurt someone else, right?
yeah. That happens a lot because
Right?
yeah,
And that happens to us as well.
Yeah, to
People
us
we
as
get
well.
hurt as well,
Yeah.
right? For the same reason, right? So that's what I'm saying. For the happiness, the kind of happiness that I think maybe you're sort of thinking about, we would have to give up that freedom to do bad things to one another, because we would be stopped. Like God would say, stop, right? If you wanted to curse someone,
yeah,
or if you wanted to steal something, or if someone wanted to steal something from you or curse you, God would have to shut their mouth, close their whatever hands,
Yeah.
you know, put their hands away or whatever it is that they were
Yeah.
doing, right? That would be loss of freedom.
yeah. Actually, I would want him to, take out that every evil thought from the, people.
Right.
Yeah, just make it disappear.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want it. I don't know if the thoughts we get are actually. I don't know if God has made us,
Yeah.
then the thoughts coming to our mind, He must have sent it.
He must have sent it. Okay.
Yeah, if He made us, yeah,
Okay.
then I ultimately want Him to just
Just get rid of those thoughts.
get rid of those thoughts.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
Do you
all
think,
of those your evil thoughts. That's all of this war happening.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's happening.
Right. Right. Speaking of evil thoughts, and
Yeah.
a little bit maybe personal question, do you have any evil thoughts?
I may have. I don't know. Not. I cannot say it evil, but
Right.
yeah. I guess I may call it selfish thoughts.
Selfish thoughts.
Yeah.
yeah.
It may be called selfish thoughts, but I don't find it evil.
Right. Right.
I have no evil thoughts.
Okay, okay. Well, I mean, we as men, like for one thing, like for example, that I don't know how much you know about Jesus in the Bible, but he said
Yeah.
even if you look with a lustful look after women, right, then you committed adultery in your heart, right? So we as men, we do that thing all the time, right?
Yeah.
We look with our eyes, we have
Yeah.
evil thoughts
Yeah.
towards women.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah, evil. I don't call it evil again because
Well,
I
it's
don't
lust.
find it. Yeah, it's lust kind
Yes,
of. Like.
yes, yeah. Well, God would say that that's evil because you are diminishing the value of that person in your own mind, right? Because
yeah.
you're making them to be an object for your pleasure rather than a human being like yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what is happening in our hearts and our minds. And then the more we do that, the more we act like it, and we tend to treat people like that. That's the consequences of
Yeah.
us.
Again, I would want God to eliminate those thoughts.
Eliminate those
Yeah, because I don't know. It's kind of natural now. It comes. It's kind of like biological. You see something, someone kind of hot, and you get those thoughts in minds, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Every guy gets that, I guess, because
Yeah, that's true, right? It doesn't excuse us.
Yeah.
It's not an excuse,
Yeah.
right? I mean, because I think we have a choice not to,
yeah,
but we do it anyway because it,
Yeah.
it pleases us, right? It's
Yeah.
something that's pleasurable, right? So why wouldn't you do it, right? That's the freedom that we have, that God gives us, that freedom, right? Otherwise, He would just say, no more evil thoughts. But I know you probably have to go with your friend. I'm not going to keep you for too long. But one thing I wanted to leave with you maybe is that there's one religion where I think God has done that. He's able to do that.
And what's that?
So Christianity, let me tell you a little bit about why I think Christianity solves that problem.
How?
And you can think about it later, right?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so here's how it works, right? In Christianity, God knows that we are sinful people.
Yeah.
He knows that. It's not secret to him because he knows the thoughts of our heart, of our mind, and everything like that, right? But, and then what he did was, he knew that we cannot, with our own strength, with our own efforts, we cannot improve ourselves.
Yeah.
Every time we try, we fail. Even if you try, let's say tomorrow, you're not going to have one evil thought, one single evil thought tomorrow, and I bet you'll fail. I'll fail as well.
Yeah.
That's the situation, right?
Yeah.
And God knows that about us, right? God knows that we hurt one another, we have evil thoughts, right? One thing he did is, and all of those thoughts and all of those things we are going to be responsible for one day to him, right? That's called the judgment. In Christianity, it's called once we die, we're going to be judged by him for everything we've done, right?
Yeah.
And that ultimate judgment deserved is hell. That's what's called hell.
Yeah.
Right? People who do bad things, they go to hell, right? Now that's the bad news. The good news is that God knows this about us, and he sent his son. It's called Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He sent his son to become one of us.
Yeah.
2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ lived our life as a human being. God became a human being. He lived our life. He was tempted in every way. He was tempted with evil thoughts. He was tempted with evil things, but he never did that. Not only that, but he sacrificed himself for us, right? So that
how's that?
he went on the cross. He went on the cross. He put his life.
And how does it make it a sacrifice?
So because he said, I offer my life as a sacrifice for many, because God has said that those who sin will be judged. They deserve death. The consequences of sin is death.
Yeah.
And then Jesus gives his life to give us a substitution, right? He gives his life, so we don't have to give our life.
So you mean I won't die?
Yeah, so he gave the life for you and me to pay the consequence of the debt that we have. Like if we were like a bank, similar thing like a bank, you create a bank account, you have a debt, he pays it all. He pays the debt for you and me, right? All he asks us is to trust him, to trust him. And when you trust him, he also does another thing, which is going back to my previous point. He's like, he sends the Holy Spirit, which is the Spirit of God, dwelling in you, in your heart, in my heart, and changes your thoughts, changes your heart. So no more evil thoughts, no more evil things and evil thinking, evil eyes and everything like that.
Yeah.
Because God himself, his Holy Spirit dwells in your heart. That's something that happened to me. It's something that happens to many believers. They believe and their life changes as a result. Miraculously. They stop thinking about things that they used to think.
So you mean, so you want to say that just by thinking evil, you're gonna go to hell?
That's one of the things, because usually thinking evil leads us to doing evil.
What about controlling those evil thoughts? I mean, if you think evil but you don't commit it, right?
Right.
So
Well,
is he gonna go to hell? Am I gonna go to hell?
Well, Jesus put a pretty high bar. He said, even if, like, for example, even if you think murderous thoughts about someone, it's as if though you murdered your brother in your heart, right? Because it is difficult to stop at just thoughts, right?
You know, actually, those kind of thoughts are can only be in the mind of, you know, not a good person. But as we are kind of literate people, I don't think we'll get those thoughts at all, because.
What we just said earlier, right? I get those thoughts, you get those thoughts. Like, for example, did you ever get angry at someone? You go to school, right? And your I don't know, maybe your professor or something like that has asked you to do something impossible. Yeah. Or something difficult, right? You must have thought of this. I mean, this is my experience as well. I went to school. I was like, that, you know, I said that bastard, right? Or I used worse words than that, right? I wish that I could, you know, I wish that person. I didn't wish good upon that person. I didn't want to bless that person. I wanted to curse that person, right?
So you mean just by cursing those words, you're gonna go to hell? And why is that? What about the
Yeah.
good things I've done?
Yeah. Well, what about those good
Yeah.
things?
What about the good
Well, you
things?
should be doing the good things. Yeah, you should be doing good things
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah.
But you shouldn't be doing the bad things. That's the problem.
So we are just meant to do the good things.
We're always meant to
What
do
about
good
the
things.
mistakes?
Yeah, that's the problem, right? The
Yeah.
mistakes are, we have to be responsible for both things. Like, for
Yeah.
example, let's say you,
There must be some compensation, right, about the good things.
but let me give you an analogy. Let's say you, I don't know if you drive a car, but you get a speeding ticket,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
drive over the speeding ticket, you get a mail, you have to pay the fine. Now you go in front of the judge in a courtroom. I said, Judge, I get it, I speeded. But you know what? I did so many good things. Like, there's so many days that I didn't do the speeding. I was under the speed limit. I was fine. So many days. And not
Yeah.
just that, I did charity, I did other things. The judge would say, what would he say? He would say, great, that's good for you,
No, it's
but I
actually,
still need a fine.
yeah.
I still need you to pay me the fine.
That's a different part, and about God, it's different, right?
In which way is it different though?
Because He looks at all the things. The judge only sees out the speeding ticket, right?
Correct, but I'm saying
But the
that,
God sees all the things, right?
yeah,
You're
he
saying
does,
that
yeah.
God's gonna watch at my good things, right?
Well, he will, of course, but he's
And-
the analogy, the similarity is if
Yeah.
he's a God of justice,
Yeah.
if he's just merciful, nice God,
Mm-hmm.
he'll say, you know what, well, whatever, we'll put it under the carpet. But what about then the murderer,
So we-
the rapist, and everything? Like, there has to be justice. Some justice, some balancing has to happen,
Yeah.
right? That's the analogy, right? So that
Yeah.
if he's a good judge would say that's good things. You should be doing the good things. You should be a good citizen, but the fine has to be paid. And now imagine someone else walks into the room, into the courtroom, and pulls out their wallet and say, "I will pay. I will pay."
I watch judge shows, right? And I watch judge shows, and there are sometimes exceptions where judge just
Oh, sure. Maybe there are exceptions. Like, for example,
Yeah.
the exceptions I would say apply in this case, like a mentally disabled person
no,
or
not at
children
all.
who are not knowing. Because what we do is we do these things with perfect knowledge and perfect responsibility, right? No one can tell us that, oh, I didn't know. Trust me, I know when I do bad things, when I curse someone, when I look at with lust, all of those things I know,
Yeah.
and I do it consciously, right? I cannot say, oh, I didn't know. I knew.
So what religion do you follow?
Christianity.
You are Christian.
Yes.
Christianity.
Yeah.
So there are also why are there so many Christians, right? Right. There are I don't know. There were 5 types of Christian in Nepal, I guess. So some of them celebrate Christmas. Some of them don't.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, they have different views on how to actually practice their religion. And that's true for everything, right? Even if you...
The God must be the same, right? So He told them all of the Christians to be the same. So why are they different?
Well, because different people interpret things differently, right? Or they have different understandings of what God said.
But the Christians must be same.
What do you mean? Sorry.
I mean, those who follow Christianity
Yeah.
must be same, right? Must have the same thoughts, right?
Well, we're not clones. We're not robots.
But how do you expect me to follow Christianity
Yes.
like that?
Well, first of all, I'm not expecting you to go to anyone's church.
No,
like
just
my church or
yeah.
Well, if you were interested, here's what I would say. If you're really interested, I would say, look, the best way to start is get a Bible. If
Yeah.
you never read one, the Bible is.
I tried.
You tried, yeah.
Yeah.
You tried it.
Yeah, I try to. Just
Okay.
I wanted to see the view.
Yeah.
Yeah, view of what the Bible says.
How long
Yeah.
ago was that? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't know. I forgot. Maybe
Maybe years.
2, 3, 4. I don't know.
Years ago. Okay.
Yeah, years ago.
How about this, right? Start with I don't know if you know much about the Bible. There's a New Testament. There's the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Start with one of the New Testament books, one of the Gospels.
Why would you make the New Testament?
Because it tells you about Jesus directly, right? It introduces you to the person of Jesus, and he says, if you want to know what God is like,
Was there something
Look at
wrong
me.
with the Old Testament?
no, nothing's wrong with the Old Testament. It's just that the Old Testament is about a promise of God, which
Yeah.
is to come, which is Jesus. So I don't know how you read sort of novels and mystery books, but you can just jump right at the end to see who done it, right? Who's the person who's done it, right? The Old Testament is about anticipation of God's promise, His prophecy and His promise that there will be someone that He will send, who will be sent to pay for the people's sins, who will change people's heart. He says it will turn the heart of stone. Our thoughts and our minds will be changed, and it will be happening by the time at the time that he sends one promised Messiah.
Yeah.
And that Messiah was Jesus. That's why I was recommending to you. You can read in the New Testament. You can read about Jesus because how he did it.
Yeah.
And then you can go back to the Old Testament and read. I'm not saying you can if you want to start from the Old Testament. Please do start with the Old Testament. I'm just telling you. It sounds like if you don't have a lot of time, if you do have to do studies and other things, you might want to start at the New Testament first.
Yeah.
But if you want to start elsewhere, what I'm saying to you, reading the Bible is a good place to start to see what Christianity says.
Yeah.
Okay? Pray.
Yeah.
Pray to God if you are interested, right? And you might say, look, I don't know God, I don't see you, I don't know if you're there or not there. Would you help me to see you? Help me to get these things, understand these things, and open my heart to you, okay?
Yeah.
That's a start, right? That's a start. And other things, like if you choose later to go to a church, if you choose later to do other things, hopefully that will follow from your interest. But if you just go to church, you'll be like, I don't understand any of this stuff. Why do these guys do this? Why do they do that? There's different, like you said, there's different churches. Which one do I go to? There's different people. There's some people say this, some people say that. All of that stuff is going to be very confusing probably, but I would just say the basics, all of the Christians have the same Bible. We read the same text.
Do they have the same Bible?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just translated in different languages. Like there's one in Nepalese, there's one in, I'm from Croatia originally, so I read one in Croatian. There's English ones, there's many translations, but ultimately the text was written 4,000 years ago, and it was just translated from Hebrew and from Greek into today's book. But these are historical books, right? These are the way it's the Bible is different than, like, I don't know if you ever read Quran or some of the other sacred texts, but the Bible is written by multiple actually human beings who wrote it down from what they saw and heard, and they wrote it down, and it's real, like historical. It tells you the places, the names of the people who lived in history. It tells you about what they've done, what they've said, and it's very raw, and it's very real. It doesn't tell you things that like fluffy things. It's not about fluffiness. It's about real. It's people who die, people who do not believe Jesus, even though they saw him do a miracle, they disbelieve him. People that don't want to follow him, people that put him on the crucifixion, Roman soldiers, regular people, common people like you and me. It tells you how life really was, and it tells you how God entered into our experience, our life. So he knows about our experience, and he loves us so much. He's a God of love who loves us so much. He doesn't want to leave us in our experience, but he wants us to draw us close to him. But for us to be close to him, he has to solve the problem of our sin.
You know what? There are many different religions, right?
Yeah.
They have their own gods.
Yes.
So what does Christian people think about other gods?
Well, it's a good question, right? So I think, if you ask me, I mean, I don't know about other Christians, but I would say these are idols. We make idols. Like you said in your country, you make nature an idol because you worship it, because you want it to create fertile harvest for your people, right? You can put food on the table.
No,
right?
I mean, my religion don't have a specific god.
Right.
So we just worship nature, right?
Yeah.
So what about the other religions like Islams and other Buddhists, right? So do you think other people will agree with you on that?
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't agree with me because they would have their reasons. They would say, well, you have your book, we have our book, right? And we believe this way, you believe that way.
Yeah.
And they would be strong. I speak to many people, trust me. I speak to people from Islam,
so,
I speak to Buddhism.
Yeah, when I speak to, I also spoken to, other people, to other people from other religions. And either way, if you follow Christianity, or if you follow Buddhism, or if you follow Islam, I don't know other religions, but either way you're gonna go to heaven, whichever you follow. So
there's only one heaven.
What's the point of speaking?
Well, because the reason is that even though many people make different claims, different religions, but there's only one truth in the end, right? Either we're all
and how would you say that you are speaking the truth and they are not? How do you?
Because you have to research, right? You have to do a bit of research. You have to say, okay, what is it that they say? What are they basing their claims on? I mean, you're a student, right? So you apply your reasoning. I don't know what kind of area of study that you do. What do you do? What do you study?
I'm a business.
Business, okay. Well, I'm more from a science perspective, right? So I studied science in school. But you apply reasoning. You say, okay, I have these claims. How do I know something is true or not? Okay, so for me, I wasn't always a Christian. I became Christian later in my life. But for me, it was like I need to evaluate these claims. Which ones are consistent? Which ones are historical? Do I have evidence? Evidence is important, right? So I would say Christianity has evidence. More
you would
evidence.
say?
I would say yes. I would say Christianity has
like
more.
What kind of evidence?
Different kinds of evidence. There's archaeological evidence. There's evidence from the early writings of the early church. There's evidence for the non-Christian sources, right? So Romans and Jews who were there at the time of Jesus.
Yeah, but every religion's gonna show you that.
Maybe they will. I'm saying is that Christianity has a lot more evidence than any other religion. Or most of the other religions, they're much more enclosed. Right, they have a single person maybe who's said something that, like in Islam, you have Muhammad who received his prophecy in a cave. There was nobody else there. No one else received what he received in a cave, and so he's the founder of that religion, and everyone has to trust what he says. In Christianity, Jesus was a public figure. He said something that everyone was listening to him, and when he did miracles, everyone was there to see what he's done. And multiple writers, multiple eyewitnesses wrote it down. Multiple people. We don't have to trust one person. There's multiple eyewitnesses, right? Just like if you were to speak to someone and someone said, "Oh, I saw someone rise from the dead." You're like, "Come on, man! What did you smoke last night? Did you like get something funny in your?" But if someone else said, "No, I was there also, and we both saw that person," and a third person comes in, "No, these guys are correct. We were all there. This thing happened." Now you gotta wonder that, like, okay, if three people are telling you the same thing, either it's a big conspiracy, or this thing really happened, right? So that's what I'm saying to you. That's the kind of evidence that Christianity offers that is unique. I don't think I've seen that, and I've done the research in other religions. So you gotta make up your mind, right? So you gotta do the research. You gotta make up your mind. What is true? What is not true?
I watched a movie. Maybe 1 year ago. I forgot the name. What's your YouTube channel name?
Christian Street Conversations.
Oh, so it's about Christian, right?
It is.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to force people into my thinking, because I want to really interesting what people believe.
I don't actually believe in God, so I don't know.
So you say you were watching a movie. Was that related or?
A man from, I don't know. It's related to, a guy who lived more than 10,000 years, more than 100. He was there when the world first existed. Yeah. And he was from that time, right?
Okay.
And he has been living since then.
Okay.
And he claims himself as he went to, I don't know, the first time he does not die. Right?
Yeah.
And he does not die, and he claims himself as Jesus, Buddhist, Buddha, and also Islam. He founded all the religion.
Yeah,
and I forgot the movie name, but I guess if I see you in the
YouTube channel, I don't know if this is like a fiction movie or some sort of science fiction, but I would ask if that's a real person who's claiming that. I'll say, okay, what's the evidence that he has?
Yeah, no, it's just a movie.
It's just a movie.
It's just a point of view.
Sure.
Where he tells that there's no God, and he has been living since then.
Yeah.
And he is the one who was mistaken to be a God, right?
Yeah.
He was mistaken, and he just he does not die, so he was crucified too. So he shows all these marks, and
interesting.
And he was just mistaken to be a God.
Got it. Yeah.
And it was kind of really interesting movie, but I forgot the name. It's something. It's like a man something. I don't know what.
Okay. Interesting.
I would love to recommend you that movie.
Okay.
If you meet sometime.
Yeah, sure.
I'll search and find.
Interesting. Yeah, but I'm sadly these are all interesting hypothetical stories, right? So kind of like sounds like an interesting. But the difference again, I would say the difference is we have evidence
Yeah, but
compelling
all of
evidence.
the religions do have evidence with them.
Not the same number of evidence. No, they don't.
I don't know, but
So it's worth investigating, right? It's worth asking those questions because, like I said, either we're all wrong, all of the religions are all wrong,
yeah,
or one of them is true. But
Yeah.
what cannot be true is that all of us are right.
yeah.
I cannot be right and an Islam right. A
What
Christianity
about
can be right. Or
what about
Buddhism right.
Hindu mythology?
Yeah, well, same thing. Like they.
There are
cannot
many
be-
gods. in
Yeah,
the-
exactly. So
there.
you can have just one god and then also many gods. It just doesn't work,
Yeah.
right? Either there has to be either one chief god who created the other gods,
Yeah.
or who's the main god then? Like how many gods do you need, right? Who's the real guy, right? Who created all the other gods, right? So it's and how would they defend the fact that there are multiple gods? What's their evidence? Like, do they have someone who's seen these gods and actually interacted with them? Does it have like something that they've said? Multiple people, multiple eyewitnesses. What do those gods say about?
So
the
did you
creation?
read all the that books
Not all
about
of them,
really
not all of them. But I
not all of them?
studied religion. I currently study religion. That's something I do off to the side while I have full-time work, but I also study religion, right? So I've done some.
What
some
was the
summary.
first book you read? I mean, on the religion.
On the religion.
Yeah.
Like first book. What do you mean first book?
I mean about the first religious book.
The first religious book.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, it must have been a Bible, right? When I was very young, I must have read it and picked it up because I grew up
Yeah.
in a Catholic country, and so that's what I had in
So-
front of me. Yeah.
So you have the view on the Bible only. So what about the other?
Later.
Why didn't you?
So I wasn't a Christian then. I just
Uh-huh.
read it.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, that's interesting. I don't understand it.
Which
Oh,
other books have you read?
Well, I read the Quran.
Quran.
I read a little bit of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
A little bit, right? I
Mhm.
read about some of the myths of the creation from like Zoroastrianism. I read some just small things like that I came into contact with. Yeah,
And you find Bible.
most compelling, most real
Mhm.
as a historical text, as a collection. So it's not a single book written by a single person. It's multiple books together, multiple eyewitness accounts who are speaking about the same story, same God, who did not speak to one another. It's not a conspiracy, but they've all had experiences with this one single God, one divine being throughout history, right? And that's what compelled me. That's what really captured me, right? Because I didn't see that in any other religion.
So you were Christian,
I was born in
Born
a
as-
Catholic family.
Catholic family. So you were Christian from the beginning.
Well, I wouldn't be calling myself Christian then because
Yeah.
it was something I was born into culturally, like
Yeah.
you maybe are born into culturally into
Yeah.
that sort of
Yeah.
group. But now you sort of said, look, if you personally, someone asks you, kind of like an atheist. If someone asked me at that time, I'd be like, I don't know, I guess I'm Catholic, but I don't really know what I believe in. Only later in my life, much older than you are now, in my 30s, I actually sat down and I read the Bible like with an adult brain
Yeah.
and just asked, okay, how much sense does this make? Does
So
this
you were
make any sense?
you were Catholic, and it was easy for you. What would you say about other people? Like he's Hindu, right?
Yeah.
My friend is Hindu.
Yes.
I am Kirat, right?
Yes.
What I don't have God actually. We have
Yeah.
we worship nature as I already told, but he worships Shiva, Lord Shiva, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hindu people, all of them
Yeah.
worship Lord Shiva and all the other
That's
Hindu.
right. That's right. Yeah.
Hindu-
So I respect
and-
all of you guys. I
And
respect you.
what would your God say if they abandon their
Yeah.
God? What would your God say?
Oh, what would my God say to what? Sorry, specifically what about these?
Would
these
you
cultures?
find it right? I mean, he's abandoning his God.
Sorry,
I mean, abandoning his God.
if you're about abandoning his
Yeah.
God, yeah, I would say, well,
That won't be so nice, right?
what wouldn't be
Would
so nice?
Would your God want that to abandon his
Yeah,
God?
but if it's false, if it's a false God, then of course we don't want to believe false things, right? We don't want to fake things.
What
There's only
about-
one truth, right?
Yeah.
It's either he's correct or I'm correct. We cannot both be correct, right?
Yeah.
But we can respect one another. So I respect your friend. I respect yourself as a human being.
But
I never want ill on you, but I want you to know the truth. But there's only one truth. Like either you're right and he's right, or he's right, or I'm right. Like we have three different views here, three different ones.
yeah,
Not all of us are correct.
yeah.
None of us could be correct, or one of us could be correct.
Yeah.
That's the case, right? That's logic, right?
Yeah,
we
that's
can
logic.
we can disagree with a human. We can disagree with respect.
Yeah.
Like you could walk away and say, "Thanks, this was a great conversation," but you know what? That's it. I'm just going to leave it there. That's
Yeah.
just fine. I respect that, right? Respect that. Or the only thing I would say, like, look, research for yourself. Think about it yourself. What you don't want to do, you don't want to go through life with knowing that you haven't explored the truth, right? Knowing, thinking that you haven't asked the right questions, or maybe potentially even thinking that you're done. Someone told you something that was not true. You don't want to live your life in deceit. You don't want to live your life in a fantasy. You don't want to do that, right? You want to know the truth.
Yeah.
I want to know the truth. If someone came to me now and it says, Sanyan, that's my name, right?
Yeah.
You're wrong, and I'll show you why you're wrong. Here's the evidence. I would have to, if I'm honest with myself, I would have to believe that person. I would say, you know what? You're right. I must have had it wrong. That's all I'm asking is honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty and the truth is important. Truth will set you free. That's a quote from the Bible, right? It says, if you know the truth will set you free. Why does the truth set us free? Because truth, knowing what is true, right, allows us to order our lives knowing that what we're following is actually true and not false. False things lead to problems, right? False things create false ideas and false outcomes. You don't want to ruin your life with a false idea. You want to live your life in a truth, right?
You are from a science background, right?
Yes,
You studied science.
I did, yes.
So what kind of powers do you think God have?
What kind of
Powers.
powers?
Yeah.
He's
How did he create this world?
he spoke it into word with his words, right? So
Yeah.
in the Genesis, it says God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God said, "Let there be."
Why wouldn't he say, let there be no evil thing, let there be no any evil thoughts, let there be no war, let there be no deaths, let there be happiness only? And why
Yeah.
won't he say that?
He could say that. He could say
Why
that.
won't he then?
Because I told you, because freedom would be removed. Our
Yeah.
freedom would be removed, and we would be robots. God doesn't want robots. God wants a relationship. So, for example, let's say I don't know. You don't have a girlfriend, right?
I do have a girlfriend.
You have a girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah.
How easy was it for you to build that relationship? It took a while, right? It's a relationship. You need to
Yeah.
work on it, right? Now imagine, which is not possible, by the way, you have an AI girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right? And she would listen to you everything. You say do this, so she does it. You
Yeah.
say take your clothes off, she takes the clothes off, right? You say do this, okay, now go away. She will do it. How much of a good relationship would that be? That would be pretty bad relationship, right? As opposed to a real relationship with your girlfriend, which is you know that she is with you because she wants to be with you, not because you're telling her to be with you, but she wants to be with you. Well, it's the same thing with God. God could say, guys, stop being idiots, stop having evil thoughts, come to me, let's have this relationship, let's love one another. He could say that, but we would just be turned into robots. That wouldn't be real. That wouldn't be a real relationship, a real love. A much better relationship is one where we're willingly coming to God in humility. We say, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I've done. I'm sorry for what I thought. I hurt you. I ask your forgiveness, and I ask you to change me, change my heart, enter into me. I'm asking you, I'm giving you permission, I'm asking you to change me. I want to be better. That's the kind of relationship that he's looking for. That's a relationship, not a robot kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. It did make sense. So I guess let's stop this
Okay.
because it's
It's getting
Getting
darker,
darker
it's
and
getting cold,
it's-
and it's getting
yeah.
rain. Well, I appreciate sorry for taking too much of your time, but
No,
I really
it's okay. Yeah.
enjoyed your views and your thoughts. And all I can leave you with is, again, I'm not trying to change your mind or convert you or
No,
anything
no.
like that. It is about encouraging you.
yeah,
Seek the truth
yeah,
wherever it is. The truth is important. And if you are interested in Christianity, which I would commend you because that's where I found the truth, read it in the Bible.
yeah.
And with an adult brain that you now have that is thinking very hard and studying, now is the good time to have this research done.
Yeah, sure. I will do research on that. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much